Hey, it's a Helmet Collector here, and in today's video we're taking a look at our haul from the 2022 MAX show. We just got back yesterday. Super exciting. We got a lot of really great stuff, and I'm just going to put the thumbnail image back up on the screen now so I can talk about some of the items. These are not all mine, of course. I went with a couple friends this year. So, items my friends bought that are not here. We have a Berthier Carbine, a Tokarev M57 handgun, as well as a Colt '03 pocket hammerless, all of which are really cool. Also, the Japanese flag that's there in the background, as well as that shadow box of Japanese items that are recovered from caves in, I believe, the Philippines. Those were also purchased by my friend Readout Productions, as well as the Franco cap there and that pennant. Let's see, some of the other items. Readout also bought some photos. My friend Alex and Albert came back again this year. They were the ones who bought the firearms, and the rest of the items in those photos, or in the photo there, are mine. So we're going to kind of go through there. I know last year I kind of mentioned I wanted to maybe procure a firearm at Max. I did not this year. Budget was a bit shorter because of the house, of course, and honestly, the Max show, I felt like the variety was better this year. Like, I feel like there was a lot of really unique stuff compared to last year. There is every year, but you know what I mean. It felt like a bigger variety. So without further ado, kind of go through some things. One of the neater things I bought was this Mauser 98K pouch here for ammo. So what's cool about this is apparently a rarer sub-variant. The guy that I bought this from, he had two of these. And my friend Albert bought one for his Mauser rifle. And what's cool about this sub-variant is riveted and stitched, which you can see there. Apparently, this is a fairly uncommon sub-variant. It was only made, I believe you said, in like late 43, early 44. But the price on it was super cheap, so I couldn't pass it up. And yeah, I'll put up on screen now because the one that Albert had bought, the embossing was a bit easier to see, so you can kind of see what the maker on that one is. But yeah, really, really cool. Leather's still nice and supple. So yeah, overall pretty neat find. It was relatively inexpensive. Moving on here, this large panorama photo. Actually purchased from the same sellers that I bought last time's panorama photo from. This is a view of the coal regions in northwest France in World War I, and just look at the devastation on there. This is a really, really awesome photo, and I cannot wait to get this framed and hung up in the new collection room once we go get that set up. Now, moving on here, and I do apologize, we have it's early in the morning, sun's kind of shining through, and I don't have blinds on these windows. Next, I want to talk about this really neat Chicago newspaper. So, this newspaper is called the Saturday Blade, which is just awesome. It's a great band name. But as we can see here, this is a newspaper from August of 1914. So we have a nice early World War I newspaper here with this really cool color photo. If I can get the sun to stop shining on that. This really cool color print of a Belgian cavalryman killing a Imperial German, like Ulan, it looks like. Really, really cool. I haven't actually taken it out and looked at the full thing yet, but I'm hoping to maybe frame that and put that in the living room just because that's really cool. You know, August of 1914, that was a really interesting brief period of World War I there right in the beginning. So just really cool newspaper. Very happy to see that. And finally, the last of the bigger items that I got, we have this lovely Doug Battlefield Relic French Lebel bayonet. At least I believe it's a Lebel bayonet. Unfortunately, no record where this one was dug up at, but overall pretty solid condition. You know, the blade's completely intact. The handle's a bit beat up, but that's to be expected. Really cool. Haven't gotten any Battlefield Relic items in a while, so when I saw that and the price was relatively reasonable, I just had to buy it. And yeah, the rest of the items from Max this year, deck cards and photos, with one exception. So one of the cool things at Max this year, there was a guy who had a couple of these porcelain photos. So what's neat about these were actually, they put these on grave markers. And he had 6 of these. So he said that, he couldn't remember where they come from, but he basically said that, cemeteries, I guess every couple decades in Germany, they get renovated or redone. So these were probably taken off during one of those renovations. So this is really cool. I should have bought more. As soon as I left Max, I was like, I should have bought more because he had 6 of them. This is a cool Gebergsjäger 1, and it looks like the guy's name's on the back here. It looks like Stalker Hoholtz or Hopoltz. I haven't really had the chance to sit down and translate it yet, but I'm hoping I can maybe do some research on him and find more information. But just a really neat piece for the collection. Pretty happy to find that. Moving on to some photos here, and then we'll get into the death cards. Photos, we have this really nice one of a French tank factory, as well as German soldiers in the woods near, I believe it's Minsk. Yeah, Minsk on the back there. And I'm trying to move so I'm not casting a shadow. Apologize for that. This was a really cool photo. So this was in a group of vehicle photos, or a bin of vehicle photos. But you can clearly see. Hold on, I'm just trying to move around the table here. Is that better? Apologize. I don't usually film this early morning. Yeah, it's better. But yeah, we can see the guys are actually hopping out of the half tracks here. See smoke rising. So I think this is actually an attack on a village or a town there in Russia. Unfortunately, not labeled, but a really cool photo regardless. Yeah, my camera just decided to stop filming. That's kind of weird. Sorry for the difficulties this morning, but moving on through the photos here, have a really nice one of these early war, I believe these are like Panzer I's, but dated to 1937, so pretty cool, probably like a training exercise. A neat photo there. I got this nice World War I photo, dated to 1917 based on the sign there, but you can see ammo pouches, they got their rifle there, helmet, and also, that almost looks like a field phone that he has on his belt there. But pretty neat. There is some writing, but it is super faded, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get anything out of that. Still, really neat photo. This is kind of a neat one. This appears to be a Soviet field grave, which I've never seen a photo of before. That was just mixed in with a bin of other stuff, so I was really cool to find that one. Looking forward to maybe getting that translated. We also have this cool photo postcard for a crewman of the USS von Steuben, taken in New York and sent letter this morning, and I'm assuming that RRS here is the gentleman in the photo, which is pretty cool. And interestingly, he says he sent it this morning, but there's no stamp here, so I'm curious about that, if he just didn't end up sending it for some reason. But moving on, we have a knocked out KV-1 here. What's interesting, you can actually see the strikes on the back turret turnaround. It's kind of neat. There is a ton of text here, but I have not had the chance to go through it yet. Also, we have this large French field grave, a lot of Adrian helmets, got the French flag there with a sword through it. That'll focus in. It's pretty neat. The back, haven't had a chance to sit down and do that yet, but it's Calais, 1940, which is pretty interesting. And then the last big photo we have here, we have multiple knocked out T-34s, it looks like, in some kind of town. And then on the back here, it's dated to July of 1942. I see Panzer Zestoren, which is destroyed, but yeah, I haven't had the chance to actually see if there's like a location name in there yet, but still, really cool photo. Yeah, photos were pretty good this year. I bought a ton more last year, but the reason that I didn't buy more is A, my budget was a bit lower, and B, the death card situation was far nicer this year. I bought a ton of death cards, I think almost 50, from a couple different vendors. So we'll kind of go through these relatively quickly, but there's some interesting ones. So we have Oberfeldwebel Fritz Himmelsbach, who is a Zugführer in a Luftwaffe Feld Division, killed August 10th, 1944 in the East. Let's zoom out here. But yeah, I noticed that death card prices this year at the show seem to average about $10. Some were a bit higher, like in the 15 range, depending on what they were. Some people were selling them for as low as $5, so your mileage definitely varied depending on where you were. This is kind of a neat one. So Karl Eder, Obergefreiter and Infantry Regiment, killed September 22nd, 1941. But what's really cool, we have this nice full body photo of him apparently outside a shop or maybe a house somewhere, which is kind of neat. Pretty plain backing. We also have this nice small format card, which you don't see super often, for Adolf Brandl, who was a soldier in the Grenadier Regiment, fell September 19th, 1944. Yeah, like I said, you don't see the small format cards very often, so that's pretty cool. We have Karl Lichtensteiger, who is a member of an infantry Geschützabteilung, which I've never seen. It's never seen on a card before. August 12th, 1942, in Staro Korsunskaya in Russia. We have Edward Egger here, a soldier in infantry regiment, bearer of the Iron Cross Second Class, who was killed on March 3rd, 1943. With really cool, I've never seen this backing before. That's the reason I bought this card. With his name added in there, but it's like off the cross a little bit. It's kind of a cool one. Unfortunately, no maker on this one. It's a blank backplate. Next one I have, this is Eric Thurman, Gefreiter, and I'm guessing medical officer. I don't know what Bev IE Infantry Regiment is. Never seen that before, so that's kind of cool. He's killed November 8th, 1942. Died in a field hospital, looks like, near Hamat Priesters. Or was wounded in the Caucasus. So this is kind of a really interesting card because it's fairly early war in 1942. But you'll notice there's no reference to, Führer people or fatherland on there. We have crosses. We don't have any of the normal, like, patriotic themes, which is kind of an just interesting to note. But yeah, the next card we're looking at here, this is for Anton Specker, who fell on May 27th, 1945 in Moscow. So yeah, really cool. Late war, probably actually printed post-war. The paper quality is definitely lower than one would expect. Moving on here, we have another nice full body. This one looks like a studio photo for Andreas Schwer, who was a Gefreiter in a Gebirgsjäger regiment who died on January 21st, 1942 in the East. Another interesting kind of plate that I haven't seen before. Moving on here, this one had a cool border. That's really the reason I bought this one. This is Josef Lix, who was a Gefreiter infantry regiment. Then Granatenwerfer Nichtschutz. So cause of death list there. That's also kind of neat. Bearer of the Iron Cross Second Class Infantry Assault Badge in silver and the Eastern Front Medal, who died at the age of 22. So pretty interesting card there on October 20th, 1942. Yeah, kind of an interesting card. You see cause of death a lot on like World War I cards, but not as often on World War II, so it's kind of a neat find. Next one here we have Aloy Kummerer, who is a Gefreiter in a Gebirgsjäger regiment, machine gun, Schütze, and bearer of the wound badges. Who was killed October 10th, 1942, near Merluk in the Caucasus at the age of 22. It's kind of a neat one with the machine gunner on there. It's another one with kind of a neat border. I've seen this one, I think, once before, but it's been a while. This is Stefan Hartl, Obergefreiter in a Gebirgsjäger regiment, veteran of the campaign in France, the Balkans, and in the East, bearer of the Iron Cross Second Class, who fell on August 4th, 1942, near Rostov. Pretty neat one. Then this one, I'm not sure what this black mark is for here. I tried looking, like shining a light through it, I didn't see anything. It's just very odd to me. But yeah, Johann Renzel, who was a Gefreiter infantry regiment, bearer of the Eastern Front Medal, and the Krim and the Cuban shields, which is cool. I've never seen two shields on a death card before. Who died January 29th, 1945, after being wounded at the age of 33. So he was wounded on the 28th and died on the 29th. So just a day later. Yeah, definitely a wartime printed card, though, because we have the Iron Cross with swastika right there. Smaller format than we normally see. Then moving on, we have Michael Etzkorn, who is a soldier of the Luftwaffe. And we have this nice, more of like a biographical paragraph here, which is always cool to see. But he was killed at the age of 36 on December 22nd, 1942. That should be an interesting card to translate. And then we have Alphonse Hockel, who was in a Luftwaffe Feld unit and was a Stasstruppenturner. I remember looking that up, can't remember what it is. And who was killed on March 27th, 1943 at the age of 19. And then one of the cool things, so one of the sellers at Max this year had had this huge, had like 40 binders of just paper items, right? So immediately I walk up and I'm like, hey, do you have any death cards? And the lady who was manning the table said, I don't know what those are. I tried to explain it. She's like, there's probably some in there, but I don't know. It was almost all World War II stuff, but I was surprised in the one World War I binder that there were a ton of death cards. And I was even more surprised when almost all of them, potentially all of them, were medics, which are really cool. So this is actually an entire collection of World War I medics. We have Georg Wagenhuber here, who, as you can see, has his medic armband there. A member of 16th Reserve Infantry Regiment, 4th Company, and was killed on January 24th, 1915. And then we also have Franz Schrogmeyer, who was a medic in a Bavarian Infantry Regiment and was killed March 13th, 1916, at the age of 21. Once again, we have a nice full-body photo there of the him with his medic armband. And then going into the sleeves here, we have Herrn Johann Leitl, who was a Krankentrager in the 13th Reserve Infantry Regiment, killed August 11th, 1916. So, also a really cool photo here with this, like, wreath design. The next card, we have a nice medic with his Pickelhaube. This is Josef Loderbauer, who was in the 21st Reserve Infantry Regiment and was killed August 28th, 1916 in northern France. Down here we have Georg Mutz, who was a medical officer in Bayerischen Hilfslatzarettung II. It's a field hospital, I believe. He was killed October 6th, 1916. There's his photo there. And we have this other medical officer down here. Really cool. We have his armband. He has a flashlight, hooked into his button loop there. He has his holster on, which is pretty cool. And that is Lorenz Zettel, who, let's see here, looks like he was killed on April 10th, 1917 at the age of 38. Very much look forward to researching all these, by the way. This is going to be really, really interesting, and I think it's going to make some good videos as well. We also have Georg Friedrich here, another medical sergeant in a Jaeger regiment, bearer of the Iron Cross, and a couple other awards there. You can see him actually has his awards on, which is pretty cool. Also has his bayonet. Then look at this medical photo here with this huge backpack, Pickelhaube, medical armband, canteen, flashlight. This is an excellent photo. And this is Jungling Josef Ederer, who is a soldier in a 8th Bayerischen Medical Company, bearer of the Iron Cross 2nd Class, and the Militaria, that was awful. Like a War Merit Cross kind of thing. Killed July 30th, 1918 at the age of 26. I'm not as familiar with my World War I awards, I apologize. So now we have Franz Xavier Saltel, another sanitator, Unterofficer in Bavarian 11th Infantry Regiment, 11th Company, also bearer of the Iron Cross 2nd Class, who was killed August 30th, 1918. So we have him down here. And then we have another excellent field photo with medical armband, Pickelhaube. Looks like we have some medical pouches on his waist there. That's Franz Donner, who was killed on April 24th, 1918. Then the last set of World War I cards from that vendor here, we have Gefreiter Georg Kufner, who was a bearer of the Iron Cross 2nd Class, killed June 17th, 1917. We have him here actually sitting on his chair. Pretty neat. We have another medic here with a medical visor cap, collar tabs there. Really, really cool. This is, Max Waggenthaler, who was killed June 5th, 1917. He was a member of 13th Infantry Regiment. And then going down the bottom here, I have this backplate, which I think I've seen once before. This is for Otto Stark, who was a Sanitator Feldwebel in the 7th Field Artillery Regiment and was killed died in a reserve hospital in Munich on May 18th, 1918, at the age of 24. And the last photo that we have here, we have Georg Wimmer, who was killed. Is there a date on here? He's a member of the 4th Bavarian Fuss Artillery Regiment, 6th Battery, bearer of King Ludwig's Cross. Killed, 15th July, 1918. So a lot of more late war cards here, which is kind of interesting. But But yeah, really cool. I've never seen that many like World War I medics in one place, so I had to pick those up, and they were like $10 a piece, with a handful being $15. So definitely a great deal. Probably one of the best deals I got at Max this year, if I'm being honest. Then moving on here, we have Hans Revitzer, who was killed July 26, 1945, in Russian captivity. And then Rotten Kreuzes from April 1968. I'm curious about that April 1968 date. It's always this printed far after the war. And then moving to this other card that I have in the sleeve here. This guy had multiple cards for Georg Kaltenbacher. Unfortunately, I was only able to buy one, but he was a Feldwebel and Zugführer in a Grenadier regiment who died July 7th, 1944, at the age of 27. It's a pretty cool card with the HCOM 309 backing plate with no text here, which is pretty cool. Usually these are filled in with like information about the deceased, but this one was not for whatever reason. I think that seller, if I remember correctly, he had like 2 or 3 different printings for Georg there. And then also had another set of World War I cards here. I pretty much like tripled, if not quadrupled, my World War I collection. It was pretty sweet, which I know is something you guys have expressed interest in, so I'm glad I was able to do that. So we have, Blasius Ostermeyer, who is a soldier in the 15th Bavarian Reserve Infantry Regiment, 4th Company, who was gassed on... Hold on, I gotta make sure... Did they change the date to... Okay, so yeah, August 1st. Yeah, they changed it to the American, month, day, year. August 1st, 1916, near Verdun, and died a year later in Germany. We also have Aloy Rogel here, who is an Austrian in militia bound number 165, who returned from Albania at the end of the war, fell ill from a wound, and died in 1919. And then we have Martin Gunther here with very nice awards in his photo. Austrian soldier, died after suffering from wounds on June 18th, 1928. So he suffered for almost 10 years after the war, geez. But what's cool about these, we have 2 actual photos cut out and pasted on these ones, which is pretty neat. And actually, I think this one as well. Wow, I didn't even notice that, because I could feel the texture difference. Let me pull that out just to confirm. Yeah, no, that's an actual photo of him as well. That's really cool. And then moving to the back here, we have another really cool photo. We have, let's see here if I can move this. Josef Wilhelm, officer's assistant in the 1st Jaeger Battalion, Iron Cross, 2nd Class of Bavarian War Merit with sword and crown. Born March 12, 1883 in Hagorgreth, Bavaria, and killed in northern France on June 9, 1916. And it looks like his medals are actually painted on, which is a cool thing you don't see very often. It's pretty neat. Then we have a soldier in Infantry Lieb Regiment, 4th Company, Blinker, died in English POW camp on September 24th, 1918, after, falling on September 18th, 1918. Okay, so he fell, injured himself, died as a result. Died at the age of 19. And what was his name here? Johann Nepdietrich. So what's cool, this is a full back photo here, and it's kind of hard to show you guys on the camera, but this is actually relatively translucent. Like, I can actually clearly see the text through the photo. You can kind of pick it up there. Really cool. I'm not familiar with a card in this style, so that's an awesome find. And then here we have Lorenz Weber, corporal in the 2nd Bavarian Infantry Regiment, 12th Company, heavily wounded and later died in hospital in northern France, in Marchelapat, on October 6th, 1914, at the age of 24. It's pretty cool. I like the lanyard that he has there. It's pretty neat. And then the last set of death cards are in this binder. So we have militiamen in the 2nd Bavarian Militia Infantry Regiment, 10th Company, Iron Cross, 2nd Class, Bavarian War Merit Cross with swords, who was killed in Berthier, France on March 8th, 1915. And we have this pretty cool one. This is for Josef Grindel, a soldier in the 1st Bavarian Bicycle Cavalry Division, killed in Russia on October 2nd, 1915. And then down here we have this lovely, full uniform equipment photo for Engelbert Pfaffenhuber, who was a volunteer in the 2nd Infantry Regiment, 9th Company, and died on August 1st, 1916, after being heavily wounded. He fought for 19 months and was killed at 19 years old. Then moving to the back here, we have Georg Rieder, who was a soldier in the 19th Bavarian Reserve Infantry Regiment, 3rd Company, who was killed in Galicia, Austria, on the Russian front on June 16th, 1915. We also have Herr Georg Bauer, a soldier in the 2nd Reserve Bavarian Infantry Regiment, 4th Company, killed from a headshot near Chateau de Bellier in France on August 29th, 1914. So that's a very nice early World War I casualty there. And then the last one we have, very nice full body there with the coat. We have Gottfried Heinl, who is a senior sergeant in a reserve infantry regiment from, Prüttringen, Bavaria, Germany, has the Bavarian War Merit Cross 2nd Class, the Prussian Order of the Golden Eagle, the Iron Cross 2nd Class, and the Bulgarian War Cross, who was born on December 13th, 1890, and killed in Lille, France on April 21st, 1918. So very highly decorated. Given the fact that he has the Bulgarian War Cross, I guess he was present for the fighting over there and was transferred back or to the Western Front in 1918. It was killed there. It's pretty interesting. So yeah, overall, really awesome haul from Max this year. I cannot wait to go back next year for Max 2023. Hopefully at that point with the completion of a lot of house projects, I'll have a bit more cash this year. But yes, even with the money I was able to bring, I was able to get a ton of stuff. And just a bit of a peek behind the curtain. Currently I'm filming this at Sturb Build September. This is probably going to go up in a few days. And I have a large backlog of death cards. I talk about it fairly often. And I haven't gotten to the cards that I bought at Max last year yet. And this past year has been probably the most death cards I've ever bought. So it's going to be a while before you guys see the videos for any of these. But yeah, so the backlog is growing. And we're going to get through it eventually. It's just going to be a bit of a journey. Hope you guys have been enjoying Sturb Build September as well. It's been a lot of fun kind of filming and putting up all these videos. But yeah, really cool Max this year between the newspaper, all the photos, the relic bayonet, the cool variant 98K pouch, and then all the death cards. Yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment down below. Love hearing from you guys. Thank you all for watching. Happy collecting, and I'll see you all again very soon.